23-year-old FIU student charged with a felony over messages she wrote in a school group chat. Gabriela Saldana facing a judge Thursday morning. According to her arrest report, this went down in a WhatsApp group chat of about 215 students, where students were discussing an event that was to take place Friday at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center on campus to make their capstone presentations. An FIU police officer read some of the statements in court.
The exact words utilized was, "There's going to be a bomb in the Ocean Bank Convocation Center, and it's going to be at Jonathan's fault," one of the members in the chat.
7 News obtaining some bits of that chat. It seemed the student wanted the event rescheduled and wrote, quote, "Netanyahu, if you can hear me, drop some bonbons for us capstone students in Ocean Bank Convention Center." Other students wrote they didn't take that text lightly. She later in the chat wrote, quote, "I wrote a dumb joke that should not have been made."
I can understand your position, Ms. Corey, and you're saying this is a joke, but
Warning, this podcast is intended for mature audiences only. It contains adult language, themes, and humor. Everything said here is for comedic and satirical purposes only. It is not to be taken literally, and nothing in the show should be used as a basis for legal proceedings or real-world actions. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Yay! I'm very excited to announce that you can now go to jail for a misguided joke. Very funny thing. My name is Elijah Schaefer. Welcome back to Slightly Offensive. I'm joined in the studio by my guest today. He's the one, the only, the author of The Black Pill. So he's dressed in all black. Weston Walker, welcome to Slightly Offensive for the first time.
Hey, how you guys doing, everyone?
Yeah, we're doing okay. It's a Monday. It's a fantastic day. And of course, joining us on my left, but some call him far right when it comes to Twitter talks, Twitter circles. Joining me today on Hitler's birthday, which we're very upset about.
Oh, dude.
Benjamin Netanyahu himself. Welcome to the show.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got that excellent the Wayne Weston Walker in the house.
Yes, and on the control buttons, the one and the only guy who's for sure wearing pants, Georgie. It's good to have you back.
Hey, everybody. I'm wearing pants today, I swear.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So we're in a very interesting Monday. It looks like the war is waging on a little bit, and things are turning. We had some very strange individuals sharing Nick Fuentes clips over the weekend. You have some polls about Israel. Once again, they're destroying Jesus statues. And blacks are back on the show behaving like you would in a Waffle House at 3 a.m. Unfortunately, it's just true. Just to kind of lighten things up here, you know, if you ever wonder how things are going, we talk a lot about the world on this podcast. Checking in real quickly at Whataburger. How are you guys doing? Let's check this out. She took my ketchup though, yo. Oh, face kick.
I can't wait to eat there.
Yeah, look at this. Are we gonna get some butt cheeks, maybe?
Some genius women there.
Do you like how the workers are filming?
Yeah, they're filming.
This one's extended edition, actually. It's J.R.R. Tolkien extended edition.
Those are our doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, it is. Oh, got a bra.
Maya, come on, Maya's fighting, come on. Let her go, Maya's fighting. Mirror, drive, can you help me separate them, please?
At least she's trying to help.
Oh, shit, let me back up.
Oh, damn.
We got move. Maya, still in her.
It just keeps going, by the way. Look, it's got 30 more seconds of this.
Get off her. Come on, y'all.
Let them fight! Let them fight! You know, I did read that the chimpanzees are actually at war in the Congo recently. Didn't realize they say you don't care or tolerate war until it hits home soil. There's me standing at the counter like, could I just get my fries, please? Could I just get my fries? America is kind of a disaster in some ways. It's like you can't even enjoy life because you either have Indians pouring milk into your lakes like we have here. You literally spend over $1 million to get a house to find out that Indians are pouring water into your lake. And then you go to Arlington or South Dallas and you get your burger, your French fries, your drink for $7.99 with a Whopper. You gotta have a Whoppers now, but it's just Whopper, you know? It's spread apart. I feel like being in America is just like, you have to accept things that they don't tolerate in other countries. And Europe has been seeing this for years. You know what they said? They said, wow, that must be horrible. All these sub-Saharan Africans beating each other up. You know what we should do? Invite them into our capitals. That was a really good... Weston, I don't know how you're feeling today, but this is a great start to a Monday. Black people are beating each other up. Israel's bombing Christians. They're destroying statues of Jesus Christ. To me, this is called Americana Monday.
Oh, yeah. You know, that's just a evidence of our doctors and lawyers. You know, these people are geniuses. That's why China is importing 0 of them.
PhDs, actually. They call them triple Ds. These women are busty, and they're getting busted at the same time. The problem with myself now is somebody's got a chubby going on here. Ben?
Well, it's kind of amazing because I do wonder, if you're a business operator, where are these people's sense of common decency? You know, when you're in somebody else's place or their business or their home, typically you won't bust up all of their furniture and create a fight inside that home. But these people, are they the ones I should be avoiding, those types of women?
You mean women who are highly educated and great for our country? Yeah, we should be avoiding lawyers. And that being said, it's not just the blacks that are behaving badly.
Though, E? Are they the hood rats or the chicken heads? Like,
they're the
who
chicken
are those
bones.
women?
They're the chicken bones that you find on the floor outside of the KFC. I don't know why it is they love bone-in chicken, these doctors. It must be the seed oils. It's something. But look, it's not just the minorities of blacks that are behaving badly. I'm just glad that none of them got arrested and there's no accountability. And we're going after the real perpetrators of crimes like this Mexican girl. Check her out. She was just here in the beginning. Oh, my gosh. She also could be on meth, too, honestly. That's what and when these girls get arrested, they actually call them white, by the way. If you're just joining us, this girl made a joke on WhatsApp. First problem using WhatsApp within the United States. That is only in foreign countries to meet people that you want to block and never speak to again. Check this out.
23-year-old FIU student charged with a felony over messages she wrote in a school group chat. Gabriela Saldana facing a judge Thursday morning. According to her arrest report, this went down in a WhatsApp group chat of about 215 students, where students were discussing an event that was to take place Friday at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center on campus to make their capstone presentations. An FIU police officer read some of the statements in court.
The exact words utilized was, there's going to be a bomb in the Ocean Bank Convocation Center, and it's going to be at Jonathan's fault, one of the members in the chat.
7 News obtaining some bits of that chat. It seemed the student wanted the event rescheduled and wrote, quote, Netanyahu, if you can hear me, drop some bonbons for us capstone students in Ocean Bank Convention Center.
Okay, so to clarify this, she did make a joke about there's going to be a bomb in the ocean. To me, that's just a play on words, right? That's just a joke, right? It's like obviously when I say like, hey, Georgie, I'm going to take a gun out and I'm going to kill you this morning in World of Warcraft. Obviously, the joke is that I would ever play World of Warcraft.
Well, there is a catch to this video. If you keep it going here, check out the
jokes
judge
aside.
here.
Jokes aside.
Yeah.
No, violence is never tolerated, and we shouldn't be threatening it.
But it's clearly a joke. But like, look, check out who her judge is.
Other students wrote they didn't take that text lightly. She later in the chat wrote, quote, I wrote a dumb joke that should not have been made.
I can understand your position, Ms. Corey, and you're saying this is a joke, but to an objective person, it's not a joke, and there would be enough for probable cause. I'm not saying it's enough for beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know what the state's going to be able to prove at trial, but for purposes of this hearing, I believe there is enough for probable cause.
All right, so
and this judge,
the mayor of the city is Jewish, by the way.
And the judge is Jewish.
Glazer?
Yes, Jewish.
Interesting. Yeah. Obviously has nothing to do with it, but you know the joke was not about the bonbons, because bonbons just means like a little chocolate, right? A chocolate bonbon.
Yep.
But the joke was about Netanyahu. And the funny thing is it's a crime to joke about Netanyahu dropping bonbons on your school center. But if that school center belongs to Lebanese children, then that's just called your Monday afternoon. And they did blow up a couple high schools and flatten them. We all know, Weston, we all know that right now there's a lot of provocation Ocean Center going on right now in this country. That's like, you can't make jokes that offend Jewish people. And that's pretty much the line of humor, is like, if Jewish people are offended, then it's a crime. And that's what it's feeling like in this country. And I don't like the special treatment. I don't think it works well. I remember a guy made a Muslim joke. He said, I don't make Muslim jokes, but I do cherry pick them occasionally. I order them a la carte. You get it? There you go. Yeah, a la carte. But he even said, and the nice thing is, if you marry a girl who's a whore, but convert to Muslim, she could always write a book to feed the family called From Blowjobs to Hijabs. You know what I mean? So you always have that. You always have that up your sleeve. But apparently, if you joke about Netanyahu, that's not okay.
Well, Elijah, before I came on your show today, I said I wasn't going to get you canceled. So Netanyahu is the greatest man to ever live. And today is Hitler's birthday, and he is the most evil man to ever live.
I got a question. How do you feel about that young lady getting a felony and going to prison for making a joke? I mean, she did make a bomb joke. But she said it was a joke, and the Jewish judge sentenced her to prison. So what do you think?
Of course. This in this country, you should not be able to, since Netanyahu is the president of the country.
It's true. You are joking about the president of the country. It's wrong to threaten the president.
Right.
Yeah, you just shouldn't be allowed to do that. So,
well, like I was going to say, I'm actually offended when anyone makes fun of Israel. Just a reminder here, Israel, the actual government account, reminded us of why we should support them. I always wondered why Christians support, we'll talk about some of the other stories here, why Christians are supporting Israel, because they don't really align with Christian values. They spit on Christians. And we're not like an anti-Israel show. It's just more like, hey, I don't want to promote anybody that's not promoting our values. And then I realized they are promoting American values, as Israel announced. Pride rises at the lowest place on earth. This June, the Dead Sea becomes Pride Land. No wonder they chose one of the hottest and saltiest places on earth to celebrate homosexuals, where no life can live, because no life can be created in this area. And now with all these gays, it still can't be. It's the biggest LGBTQ plus festival ever.
Hey, so if you're gay, you should go there.
Yes.
And stay there.
Dude, I got to say this. I told you this the other night. Iran has the opportunity to do the funniest thing during this festival, by the way. 4 days of nonstop celebration, community connection. Israel celebrates being gay, and nothing says gay like laying in a salty pool of wet stuff.
Oh, bro.
You know what I mean? Right?
It's not going to smell good.
No, it's not. Some of the people that commented on this,
hopefully they'll end the ceasefire by then.
Aaron McIntyre from Blaze TV said, just checking in on my tax dollars. Chris Hardman, who is also Jewish himself, said, now I see why Iran needs nukes. So people make these jokes all the time. I brought this up because they make jokes about the bombs and stuff like that. I feel like Israel bombing everything and bombing everywhere, it's clearly a joke. It's not a joke that they're bombing everywhere, but it's like, these are precedent cases that are intentional, especially what happened to like, a black person can murder, like he'll be like 19 and murder 4 people, and they'll be like, but he was a poor boy. He was raised by a poor mother, and everybody knows your mother don't like you. You gotta kill some people when your mother won't raise you.
He just had a bad lunch. That's why he has a bad lunch. The lunches aren't good.
Those chicken wings ain't cooked right, And then a girl makes a joke. And I gotta say, is this what we gotta do to put the Mexicans in prison? Because I'm gonna tell you all, keep making these jokes. And I'm just kidding. No, but we're gonna deport a woman over a joke, but then like a Mexican guy will murder people and they'll fight for him to stay in the country. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy.
Well, one thing that stood out to me with that is, what was her capability to be able to produce the bomb and then explode the bomb? Lots of people can say the bomb, but unless they have the technical prowess to know exactly what they're doing, they're going to blow themselves up long before they take the bomb to their desired detonation point. And therefore, perhaps I think they could have interpreted it as a stern warning for the young lady to say you could get in trouble by using words like this. But once again, it's because of who the target is, and that's what you're saying. There's a clear double standard here, and it's international as well. It's not just in the United States. We have now a protected class of people that live amongst us, and they're
the chosen people.
Well, they believe so. They believe so, but they also believe they deserve the protection because they fund so much of our government for us through lobbying and through donations and everything else. So As a matter of fact, they're cooking the books, as it were. They're having outcomes which favour them, but actually dismiss the regular population. It shouldn't be that way. There shouldn't be a two-tiered justice system. Yeah, but that young girl, maybe perhaps she shouldn't be here. If she had have had one baby, maybe they would have let her stay as an anchor mama.
Anchor mama. Well, that being said, speaking of the gay people, obviously we don't want the jokes. We got to have this. Supreme Court actually just did another thing that proves that they're fecklessly useless. They actually just ruled in favor of, as the internet is erupting over gay adoption. Check this out.
Regarding religious liberty and whether parents should be informed and be able to opt their children out from reading books in the classroom that go against their faith. Mm-hmm. Shannon Bream is at the Supreme Court. We were watching for this one. What's the verdict?
We were, Dana. So this brought together a coalition of parents of different religious faiths and backgrounds who said there used to be a rule in this particular school district that would let them know when there were books that dealt with issues that may be in conflict with their religious faith. Well, so many parents were opting out that the school board and the school district quit doing it. Well, 6-3 today in a decision by Justice Alito, they said these parents have earned at least a preliminary injunction. So while this case plays out, they said the board has to notify them about a book that's in question or anything similar so that their kids can be excused if it's in conflict with their faith. He says, as we've explained, without that, parents are left this choice, either risk their child's exposure to burdensome instruction or pay substantial sums for alternative educational services. Because at one point, Justice Jackson during the arguments had said, why don't they just go to a different school? Why don't you put them in private school or homeschool them? Justice Alito and others saying that's not practical for a lot of people. The dissent by Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, says today's ruling threatens the essence of public education. She says it's not about bringing kids together to learn about a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Exposure to new ideas has always been a vital part of that project.
Yeah, this is what's crazy. We are like this far away from teachers being able to have OnlyFans and asking their kids to subscribe because it's part of a new education. It's sort of like we need the Supreme Court to say, yeah, this is why I said they're useless. It's like we just want to take time to hear a case that parents are allowed to parent, a little bit, at least temporarily. And I would say we're so far down the progressive rabbit hole that like our options are like we get to bomb Israel whether we want to or not, and it takes the Supreme Court to decide whether parents have the right for their kids to not be indoctrinated with sexual stuff. And I think that gay stuff is more of a kink. After knowing Georgie for so many years, I've realized that, people that you least expect could be into the most gay stuff.
That's crazy.
But also, on all seriousness, because we are being serious here, it's like, what is it in this country to where you have justices of the Supreme Court arguing that it's part of public's education, the public, to teach your kid about how to fuck someone in the ass? Like, that is just a crazy assertion from them to even claim that the fact that it went to the Supreme Court, the fact that this wasn't dismissed, like we are headed towards a very, very dark place in our country where now, by the way, gay sex is a part of public education, and they're already arguing. There's dissent on whether or not you can teach your kids that. That's why I don't want my kids to go to public school. And then they go, well, why don't they just go to private or homeschool? I've never heard such out of touch people in my life. Yeah, well, if the economy wasn't absolutely in shambles and if feminism didn't have its way, maybe women could stay home. And then even if you do have a woman stay home, they still break up your family and then your kids can't, be homeschooled. And it's just like women don't think about the consequences of their actions. Feminism comes with consequences. And one of those is, it was done not to give women rights. It was done to fuck up society and also to ensure that both parents had to be working to afford to live in any metropolitan or urban area so that the government could teach their kids. This is the ultimate goal, is to pervert little children, And there's nothing more disgusting than harming or hurting a little kid. And even to suggest that people would is in of itself a disgusting statement.
Well, that's how gay people breed.
Through the Supreme Court. True, actually 2012. They all bred through the Supreme Court, and now they just indoctrinate kids into their army.
They can't reproduce naturally, so they just get with your children to reproduce.
What do you mean?
That's their way of breeding.
What do you mean?
I mean that gay people, men that are gay, get with children, and that's why they push it on kids.
So I can go into that a little bit. I've asked the question of people who live that lifestyle. And I've asked them if they support and are deliberately encouraging children to gravitate towards that rather than what would be a normal preference. And in every single instance, they say, and this is all off the public record, but they say yes, they do. And the reason why is because they feel aggrieved, because every single time gay men operate out in society, they see other men that they find sexually desirable, but automatically know that more than 50% of those men don't preference men. Instead, they prefer women, so they'll never have a chance. So they feel they've only got a 5% capture on the sexual marketplace of the entirety of the world anyway, and they want to raise that. And when I've asked them, well, what's an adequate number? They say 50-50. And I say, well, so they would prefer that. And also you can look at certain studies which have been taken, and there's replete examples of them. And they question elementary school children and junior high school children as to their preferences. Now, we can basically bookend it with the boomers. Less than 1% of boomers identified as something other than heterosexual. Gen Xers, approximately 5% identify as something other than heterosexual. Millennials, more than 10% identify as something other than heterosexual. And for Zoomers, that number, particularly for American elementary age children, that number has jumped to 20%. So we're seeing an exponential increase, which is a byproduct of the normalization of this abnormal behavior.
I heard since 2020, it's gone down 23% amongst Gen Z and millennials. I think it's just Gen Z that consider themselves to be LGBT. So it's actually gone down in recent years, I believe, at least among Gen Z.
Remember there was one school where every single student in the class identified as transgender or queer? Yeah. Remember we covered that? And you know what I gotta say though? This is why I'm really glad for immigration.
Surprised the school didn't have a mass shooting.
Correct. But I'm really glad because like I was thinking like, you know, it's true. People bring up this excuse for Muslim immigration, like, well, the Muslims are against the gay stuff, so maybe that's actually good. And I was thinking, well, we don't really have as much of a Muslim issue. We do here, but we have a Muslim and Hindu infiltration, and we got to get back to teaching our kids real education. Like we should look to the Indians maybe on what they're teaching their kids.
Isn't urine a waste of the body? How can you even drink it? It's disgusting.
Well, it's not disgusting, or maybe for you, yes. And it's not dangerous. It's not a waste. Because, first of all, it's made in the kidney by the filtration of your blood. It's not made in the bowels, where the wastes are created and thrown out as stool. This is made in the kidney.
The kidneys are literally glomerular
and it's
waste.
Filtration of blood, so it has all the vitamins and minerals.
It's just purification.
Isn't urine a waste of the body?
I like how a kid is smarter. It's like, isn't urine a waste of the body? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not a waste. It is literally
don't believe your own eyes.
The waste of your blood is literally the filtration. You ever seen a glomerulus? You ever seen nephrons or any of these things? Yeah, you guys, these are legitimately how you filter the body. This is actual nitrogenous waste, okay? You ever have a high protein diet? You got to piss a lot. You ever have smelly gas and stuff? You know, this is part of the body. It's like saying like, you know, throw up, vomit is not waste because it comes out of the mouth. It's like, well, it's disgusting. My dog eats vomit. My dog drinks piss, or did before he died. But you know, I think we are at a place now where you ask yourself, like, how do Indians get to this point? I feel like we're there with our kids of like, why don't we teach them about butt fucking? And I just don't find that Hitler? To be. Yeah, well, we teach them a lot about Hitler, a lot
how evil he is.
How evil he is.
He's very evil
because he was against these things.
Yeah, and being against people who eat shit, that's a bad thing.
But you can juxtapose it, Elijah. Prior to that story about the Indian mother encouraging her daughter to drink piss, you know, we have gay adults that are encouraging children when children ask an innocent question, isn't this wrong? Should I not be doing this? And they're being sold a lie that it is. They're being heavily propagandized. And they're doing it from the people who are in closest proximity to provide influence over them as well, either a teacher or a guardian, or in that case, perhaps a parent. So right. we understand why children are wrong, and it begs the question.
That's actually grooming.
100%. But it does beg the question, would India actually eradicate the piss drinking cultural practice if they just listened to their children, if their children were prevented from being indoctrinated by the mother like that? Because it does appear that the young girl wouldn't like to participate in that, but her mother is in fact encouraging it. So I think there is hope for the Indian youth that they can eradicate the piss drinking cultural aspect from their country if they just do not listen to their parents.
Right. Well, look, I think that's why a lot of kids are turning to people like that they say are more extreme, like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
But I think that people are realizing that maybe the more extreme people are just extreme because they're countering an extreme left narrative, right? So like maybe Nick is not as extreme as people think, and maybe he actually represents a lot of young people who feel like, you know, maybe I don't want to grow up drinking piss. And they realize, just like they said, no, like, you know, the gay thing wouldn't snowball out of effect. That in 2012, you know, if we legalized gay marriage, you know, they wouldn't be, what do we do, start teaching kids to be trans, they said, and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it just took like 7-8 years. So if we let Indians in here, then what happens? Eventually we start drinking piss, and we will legalize piss drinking. You know, I've heard of someone drinking piss since a family member went to Berghain sex club, where they say that there's a guy that stands at the end of the, it's called troughing. Yeah. We stand at the end of the urinals, and they pee into your mouth and you just drink the pee.
The what?
It's called troughing. Yeah, troughing.
Troughing?
Yeah, so you become a trough for piss. You're a urine garbler. But like some people are starting to recognize maybe we do need some of these radical young people to set the record straight. Ana Kasparian was on the Young Turks, and she actually said something kind of interesting about Nick that I thought was
very surprising to hear.
What did she say about Nick? We have it.
Canary Mission put out a video where they do a side-by-side with me and Nick Fuentes. Now, as much as I hate to admit it, every once in a while, Nick Fuentes spits bars. He does. When he stays away from attacking Jewish people and specifically talks about the crimes committed by Israel, he's spitting bars. He's telling the truth.
6 million.
And I talk about that issue a lot on the show. So they did a side-by-side where we're saying similar things. In no instance are either one of us in that side-by-side video attacking Jewish people, but we are being incredibly critical of Israel and its influence over the United States.
What is Israel? It's Jewish people. This is what it is, though. You are attacking Jewish people, you attack Israel. They're right about that, because you are attacking the nature of the country, not just attacking the government.
I don't know how you separate the two. It's like it's an ethno-state.
Multiculturalism solves the problem for them.
They have zero diversity.
Yeah, they do not want it. They're sworn against it.
Isn't it supposed to be a Jewish ethno-state?
It is.
And then she's trying to separate Jews and Israel.
Because you're allowed to criticize
Tucker Carlson
Israel.
tries to do that too. I don't understand.
But so, Weston, we can criticize Israel, like, legitimately, publicly, in a political sphere. But as soon as you then want to attribute who the individuals are amongst that population, that's when they take offense. But they're one and the same anyway.
Yeah.
They cannot differentiate themselves from it.
I think if we're in here, Frisco, Texas right now, if we went outside and interviewed people and we asked, so who lives in Israel? I don't think one person would say Indians.
Well, that's where we're at. And so they've made this bed, so they have to lay in it. The only thing is they're receiving the blowback now. They don't want the blowback. They want it all to be a one-way street, and they certainly don't want it to be a two-way street.
As I said to Elijah earlier today, Jews are amazing people, and Netanyahu is our president. So
well, yeah, but this multiculturalism, all this stuff, like the reason why they're an ethno-state is because it makes sense to be an ethno-state. Like the reason, like you can't knock the Jews for having a Jewish state because it makes complete sense. And the way that they are willing to they are not willing to die for their country. They're willing to let us die for their country. But the way that they're willing to kill, steal, rape, and rob to keep their ethno-state alive is actually kind of admirable in a way. Not that I endorse their methods, but the fact that I once was quoted in Media Matters where I said, I'm not a white supremacist, I am a white Zionist, and that I want Zion for the white man, and I want to just echo Israel's methods to keeping our white homeland. Because then you get things like this, like Germany has a low enrollment right now in their military, like most white countries do, because people don't want to die for it. So they decided to come out with a new ad, right? This is why Nick is right about race and crime and stuff. This is Germany's new ad. This is real for their military to get enrollment up.
What the fuck?
So German.
Yeah, very German.
Happy birthday, Hitler.
Hitler is so evil for not wanting that.
Yeah.
What an evil man.
Average German girl. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? My ninja.
It's pretty important. It's actually very important, Weston, when you're fighting war and you're in the trenches. Like, you look to the right and you look to the left, and there's a bloke there that looks like you.
Yeah.
So you can recognize he is not the enemy. If that thing is fighting over there and I'm meant to be on her team, she's going to appear as a foreigner to me. Of course, we can't know everyone that's serving in the fighting force if we're in the military. So that does look like a stranger.
It's like with women in the military.
A foreign enemy who was put on the uniform, 100%. And I'm not unsure how the fuck that is meant to somehow incentivize young German guys to want to get on board with the program.
Makes me want to be a terrorist. You know, when I see things like that, I'm like, maybe Timothy McVeigh was onto something. No, I'm totally joking.
In Minecraft.
No, I'm joking. He was onto something, but he didn't commit the bombing in Oklahoma City. So he definitely didn't do that. But it's like, you start to get this point where you lose everything. Like, for instance, it's not just culture though. We got to talk about faith, like kind of why, there's sort of apostolic succession is important is because when you get people like this, check this out. Will Smith's wife, you can bring her up on the screen here. She says that, in fact, we don't just need to change our military, our government. We actually need to change the Bible to be adjusted. And you go, who gave you authority? Well, herself.
We need a third testament.
Yeah, listen to this.
So this is what happens when you let women read.
The opinion that we need a third testament.
I don't think she can read.
Because the Bible has become problematic.
Oh, yeah.
Slaves, obey your masters as you do the Lord. It's a text. Let the women keep silent in the churches. And if they have any
I wonder why he said that.
Yeah.
Let them ask their husbands at home. Now, I'm a believer. My whole heart, I trust God with my whole heart. I wake up in the morning talking to God and God talking to me.
People.
But I am completely frustrated.
No, who to listen to that?
The ways in which
beautiful woman on the screen right now
speaks to the kind of vitriolic
Black
God
queen
that makes those kinds of things. And people will say, well, it's in the book. And I said, then we need to pour that page out.
We didn't take you out of America.
Our ancestors
I
was
said,
king.
no, it's words about God.
Like, listen, okay, if you have pubes for a haircut, you're already not on my list of people I respect. But also, when you get down to it, this is where we're headed. It's idiocracy, where the plants need electrolytes. Like it is true where you come into a place of stupidity, and I hate to bring the race IQ thing into this though, because it's not really a religious thing. I don't know if you saw this, but it's kind of interesting. There was this individual, this girl who played in Seattle, and like people don't know how to explain this, but she's been living there. And she's been sitting on her balcony a mad amount of times. She doesn't have a number for it. It's just a mad amount of times. And she didn't notice that there was Mount Rainier. She did not notice there was is Mount Rainier the largest mountain in America? Is it? It might be. It might be. I don't know if it is.
Is that Mount Rainier's where that guy took that plane, right? And he flew it over and crashed it?
Maybe.
Did you ever see that? Ever seen that video?
A lot of guys.
Sky King.
Oh, that might have. Okay, I don't know, but I know that was Alaska Airlines. He does live forever. Listen to this. This is crazy. Listen to this.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was just sitting on my balcony, and I sat on my balcony like mad times. I had never seen it, so I didn't know like what was going on. So I'm looking, and I'm like, is that a mountain? Like, I didn't know what this was, so I'd never seen it before. So I'm like looking around, like kind of confused.
Geologists and shit.
That was my first time seeing it, and then I guess it's like
these liberals will criticize the reason why they're so low IQ and be like, it's the lunches.
It is the lunches.
I don't think it's the lunches.
Well, no, but this is actually a really deep video.
How do you not notice geography?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a really deep video because that shows the way that a lot of people think. Like, they can't, like, that phrase, like, you can't even see in front of you. Like, you don't even, you're so blinded. You can't see the forest
for the trees.
Correct. It's like the at least the largest mountain in the area. I don't know full geography, but I've been to Seattle. I've seen this mountain. And that's what you notice. That's what you notice. It's like, wow, I've been living in the city and there's this large needle thing in the middle of the city. Sky needle. And like, when did that syringe get out there? Who's taking that fat? Is that fat for Hercules? Is that Hercules needle out there? Or is that Peptide King? Like Sky King, Peptide King. This person was on look, I've done a lot of things a mad amount of times, okay? They sit there and they never noticed the largest geographic landmark ever. That means they probably noticed it and just went, oh, them clouds is high, like me right now. But I mean, like, really, that's what she's saying. And you see, like, just because a girl says I'm a pastrix, as we call them, because not pastors, they have an X in their pastrix, You have a pastrix. It's like, we need a third testament. People are like, speak now, speak. Speak, sister. Like, I don't think any black women have a problem speaking, and even loudly in the movie theater when it comes down to it. But it's like, wow, they vote.
Yeah.
And they're integrated in our society. And we wonder why we can't get anywhere. You got the Third Testament mountains. Someone also said they call it Mount Rainier because it's rainier at the top. There's a lot of rain, so they call it Rainier. That's phenomenal. It's
crazy.
Then that person makes more money than you, Ben.
I'm not sure about that. She looks like she's on welfare and that hairstyle.
She's a WNBA player. They just got massive raises.
Yeah, to 65 a year. Okay, and they're still
I think they're
overpaid.
200 something.
But that's still overpaid significantly. But the question is, Weston, so we can rock up to any geographic landmark around the world, and if we see a giant mountain, as men, we see that thing and we're caught in an awe.
Yeah,
I
want to see it. I want to climb it.
Like, wow, man, this thing is a monstrosity. It's there, and it's very present to us. Like, we cannot ignore the fact that it is sitting there, and we have a reverence for it because this grand thing is right there. I think she just told us that she doesn't have awe. She doesn't even, the word doesn't even mean anything to her.
If you put a KFC chicken box, then she would have awe.
And it's kind of wild.
Damn chickens is crazy.
Like, if the world around you can't make you sit back for a moment and just take a second to think about something much larger than yourself, and if in this instance, a literal fucking mountain right in front of her eyes, and just a total detachment, something is broken there. Do they even possess the ability? Do they possess the emotional scale to be able to register, okay, so I should be awe-inspired by this thing?
It's like how I'm very awe-inspired by, Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
They're the greatest conquerors of all time.
Pinnacle. And it is like a mountain.
They achieved the greatest achievements there ever was. And that's how we look at the mountains too. Like when I see that mountain, I'm in awe and like we can climb that.
Yeah.
Let's go up and climb it and look at it, that person right there is just not very smart.
Well, one of our commenters said, Cheetah Mane says she finna see the Leaning Tower of Pizza in Paris someday. Yeah, she is. Okay, but like that's
got a super chat, by the way.
Yeah. Crazy.
Roman Salute says, I got banned from my local record store this weekend because one of the employees saw I shared a Hitler reel on Instagram. He confronted me about it, and I wasn't going to deny it, and he got so mad. LOL.
Yeah, and that's like crazy. Like that's our culture. And like while we're celebrating that, AF Post reported this. It's like while we're distracted with that, that's our entertainment. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, I think he's still the Attorney General here. Yeah, that's correct. He's running for Senate.
Yeah,
okay.
he's running. Yeah.
He announces an investigation to ActBlue, the Democrats' fundraising platform, after allegations that intentionally used lax vetting practices to allow fraudulent and foreign donations. Straw donations and foreign money flooding in through platform could have accounted for a significant amount of Democrat expenditures. Where does that foreign money coming from? That's interesting. Listen to this.
Team is telling me you have massive news to break. Perhaps it just broke on the internet. A huge lawsuit that you have filed against ActBlue. The floor is yours, sir.
I assume you've heard of ActBlue. Yes. We just filed a lawsuit this morning in Tarrant County, which is in Fort Worth, against ActBlue. We've been investigating them for several years. We actually turned over some information to the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, in 2024. Obviously, that was during the Biden administration. Nothing occurred. But since that time, they've been in front of Congress. Their lawyers have admitted that they misled the public, that they misled Congress, and that they actually didn't have safeguards in place to prevent people from giving donations and other people's names, from taking foreign donations. There's a lot of issues with compliance that they have not followed, and yet they told Congress that they had, and they've represented to us that they have. And so we filed a lawsuit. We believe that they have misrepresented to us and to the people of this state that they're actually raising money illegally.
Well, that's good that we're getting them, because God forbid the Republicans ever lose power in Texas, and we don't have less than 1 in 5 children under 18 being white. Okay. This state is absolutely mismanaged by the Republicans, and they're talking about fraud. Like, this state has allowed the most H-1B fraud. And in Frisco, do you see all the Indians are starting to show up to the Frisco meetings now? And they're like, this is racism and could not be tolerated, because a guy showed up with an Indian flag to the last meeting, and he says, I want to get more poop on the floor, please.
What is the demographics of Indians in Texas? I think
South Frisco, it's over 55%.
Wow.
55.8.
I was raised in this area. I think me and you kind of talked about that tonight. Like, this city was white paradise like 20 years ago. I saw it. I saw the city get built. And it was beautiful, and it was crazy how they built the city, because it was like kind of shitty farmland. But they built the mall. There used to be a mall over there on.
It's getting taken down, the Plano Mall. They're destroying it. They're destroying the Plano Mall. No one's going to there anymore because they're too busy shopping at Patel Brothers grocery store with tuk-tuks out front.
Stonebriar. Stonebriar was the name of the mall.
Stonebriar is still around. It's just scary inside. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's scary. That is crazy because when I grew up,
it's intimidating.
It was the rich area. Yeah. Like, Frisco was rich. Stonebriar was rich. It was white paradise. And now it's turned into
dude. They took out the custom suit shop, and I believe they put in another shoe shop, which is always bad. You can always judge a.
Well, I'm surprised because Indians don't normally wear shoes.
No, but there's a lot of mechanical engineers walking around. So much so they have this new like peace security force there. That's a bunch of fat Hispanic people walking around without guns, and it's like, why do we need like 20 of these guys walking around? We went there. It's actually like you feel you're a grown man and you feel like you're going to get robbed. Like you feel like you're just going to get jumped. And
can't even eat in the food court.
No, yeah, we're eating. What happened?
We just had some blacks like acting rowdy as they often do near our lunch table. We're eating. They're like backing up into us, talking shit.
Need some food.
Yeah, they're just like talking. Then he turns around to like dab us up, and we just look at him and shake our head.
He was like,
shit.
He's like, dab me up. And then this guy went, no. He's like, no, just don't even approach my table.
My head.
Can I not eat my goy slop?
Yeah.
Without my goy slave, talking to me, trying to dab me up. It's like, leave me the fuck alone, dude. That's how I feel like in America. Like, just leave me alone, okay? At this point, let me just die of seed oil injections. And that's how they're going to kill us. And they're just going to fill up. They're going to spike my peptides one of these days. And you know that America's stupid because there's this one guy's girlfriend. And I remember I showed her, we were starting a peptide company. We still will. And I pulled out my peptides. I was like, these are my peptides. And this is how this works. She was like, Elijah showed me all of his drugs. And he's on all these drugs. And they got spread around that I was on drugs because I was taking like tanning peptides. And it's absolutely crazy because you're like, these are good. Everyone should be taking peptides. Everybody should mandatorily be on peptides. In fact, you should. Yes?
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree.
The average woman in America weighs, the average black woman weighs 190 pounds. Damn. And the average white woman weighs...
How tall is she?
5'2". And the average white woman weighs 170 pounds. Everyone should be on Retta, period.
Yeah, what did Xander call today? Retta Trutard. We're all Retta Trutards. We're Retta Trutards. But it's like you look at this and it's like we are cooked, right? Antunes, how do you say it?
Retta Max.
How do you say that?
Who knows?
Just sex.
But this is a new billboard out. This looks like this could be Miami maybe or something. I don't know where this is.
Hold on, let me write that down.
1-833 Sext GPT. You can now sext AI bots, which are usually just men writing you back using chat.
This is a paid advertisement.
Yeah, this is on the wall. And it's like, we don't even remember the days when, prostitution was like kind of frowned upon, but it was like, if you found a good brothel back, they did a big bust recently. I love everyone's like, oh, why do I always find about this stuff after it's busted? I don't promote prostitution or anything like that, but I will say, porn is kind of like a prostitution thing. You're just kind of like hooking up with girls and men are paying for it, which is very weird.
Simps.
I don't understand that. But like paying to sext robots, like we get what? We got driverless autonomous
You're such a
taxis,
boomer, bro. Everyone's doing that.
It's weird.
Can't you just like write it on like ChatGPT or something for you instead of paying them on whatever that shit is?
Well, you look at this. This is Paris in the 1900s World Fair. Look at this. And you see this, and it's like, we have definitely digressed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Weston, apparently Sam Altman did say he was thinking about doing an adult-only mode for like the image generation on ChatGPT. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I wouldn't put it past him. He did adopt a son with his gay husband. So.
The only thing based about that is like, we'll put these like women out of business, the real women out of business, that AI stuff. So that is like maybe in a weird, twisted mindset that maybe it's good for us in a weird way.
Well, the Democrats are. I mean, we're talking about the beginning of the donations and the way the country's rolling, but the Democrats...
I'm not endorsing porn, by the way.
They are coming out against Israel, but thankfully they're still united with the Republicans on something. Check this out. That's the Michigan Democrat Party right there. There you go.
This is America, though, boys. This is America. That shit cannot fly in America. It has to be zero fucking tolerance.
What are you talking about?
Get the fuck back.
Ben, that's an American man doing an American dance with an American.
It's magic soil. It's magic soil. You just put your feet down and boom, you're an American. There's nothing about America.
How dare you? How dare you, Ben?
Yeah, there's nothing about America. You know why, though? Do you know why America's bad? Let's check in on white people. Recent art installation. Look at this.
Checking in on white people.
America.
It's like my 3-year-old son. That's what he does to mirrors. You didn't want this, did you, Dad? This is like what it's like having toddlers. Wow.
That's art.
Art.
And he didn't get his achieved goal of breaking
into the glass. How is this person not in jail for the rest of their fucking life?
People paid to go see this. This is literally my son.
He's just like smashing people in the mirror.
That must be the art shows in like Sudan.
It says what you see is not the deeper you, is not the person you know. Wow.
That's what those evil Axis powers were trying to prevent.
Yeah, remember we said, and they've invaded our arts. Remember? They've made a mockery of our arts. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you thought Avengers 9 was a mockery of our arts. Until you see Glass Breaking 7.
Happy birthday to the GOAT.
Yeah, it is
what goat?
But like
what goat are we talking about?
Yeah, but you're talking about but like this. Look, the government is messed up everywhere. Check out I think this is Australia. This might be is this New Zealand or Australia? I didn't check on the reference here, but this is what the government is. Our other white countries, I always mention this. It wouldn't be a problem if it was just like America or just Germany or somewhere like. It's always possible a country can fall, right? A country can have cultural collapse, but when it's all of them, then it's by design. Check out what we're spending taxpayer money overseas on.
I'm here in the suburb of Maruka at a very special place. This is the African village, and I am here with the member for Moreton, my dear friend, my sister, Julianne Campbell, and with the man, the legend himself, Benny Bol, who runs this amazing, amazing center called the African Village. Julianne.
Right, and you go, okay, look, it's a free country. You know, the Africans, I love how they still call it the African village. They can't never ascend, right? They can never max their entire genetic pool. So it's like, they're like, okay, you're like, okay, I don't want to be racist. Like, let a few of the blacks get together and make something. But like, at least we're not paying for it, right? At least they're like trying to like help the blacks have a cultural center. Let me check in on the Australian taxpayer here.
Tell us all about it, girl.
It is the absolute hub of the Maruka community. It's so special. Everyone you see around here, these are the people that make our community tick, and Benny Bol does a wonderful job at it too. I'm so proud to be part of a federal Labor government that's made a $4 million investment into African villages.
Exactly, an investment, isn't it, Benny? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Dude, do you see the look at that girl in the corner there. Remember, I used to be a special ed TA. We had a lot of.
Look at a doll that looks like that.
Say student.
Yeah.
No. I had a high IQ, but I was retarded. You know.
More about it.
This is a significant investment over 4 years to make sure that these centers operate successfully. You cannot go anywhere and you find a place that's open 7 days a week. So when you come to our African villages, so you'll find someone helping you. You come on Sunday, come on Saturday, come after hours, there's always someone. And that is so unique and special. You've seen it today, the recovery activities and all that you've seen. It's just, you can't find it anywhere. And thank you for coming.
That's absolutely right. So there you have it. Unique, special, a real source of pride for this community. A place.
I love the pride for the community is banging on drums and burning shit. It's like, it's a real sense of pride. There's nowhere else in the country you can find this. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But the Labor government gave $4 million. You know, like when you try to do anything good for this movement, no one wants to give you money. No one wants to help you. And then you're like, hey, can I burn some shit and break some shit? And they're like, you know what? Whether it's a glass wall or whether it's a little bit of tiki huts, let's put our money there. And when a country spends on what is valuable, you know, back in the day, you know, cities like Detroit, which is still a time capsule of American beauty of architecture, it is being revived. You know, you would build skyscrapers and you would build great monuments and buildings to show the ascension of your city and your wealth.
Built those?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, they built all those.
They bongo drummed their way.
brother.
You can't even pass math class. I don't think you built a skyscraper, bro.
Dude, I should start playing. I should play strings on the piano to African speaking, and it would sound like a charismatic church. Like
We built the pyramids. Well, can you build another one?
They didn't build any. Why is it these people built everything? But like that one famous black politician, I forget who is from South Africa.
Can you build your neighborhood?
He said if Nelson Mandela thought that blacks really built South Africa, you know, and if Mugabe thought that blacks really would build Zimbabwe, why didn't they just build another Zimbabwe in a different part of the land? Why didn't they just move over a little bit and go build a brand beautiful city? Why didn't the blacks just? There's a lot of open arid land in South Africa. Why did they want Johannesburg? Why did they want the Western Cape? Why do they want these towns? Why don't they just build new South Africa and show the whites that they're better than them? They can only take and they can take from us, and we're just paying for this. And I'm tired of this, realistically speaking, because what I've realized is like, look, it's not that you have to be hateful and racist in a hateful way, but you see what society becomes when women have power. You see what society becomes when you give blacks power. They're not building new things. They're not innovating. You know, I just spoke to a guy. We were at Lifetime who was with me, and we were in the sauna, and he says this out loud in front of Indians. He's like, I've just been requested the Department of Labor non-Indian drivers because they can't drive, and they're wrecking my trucks. And like, I'm not trying to be racist. If the whites always have to defend themselves. I'm really not racist towards Indians. I can't find an Indian that can like do the job of like what, a white guy. Like, and that's when your truck drivers can't truck drive. You got problems. You've got some serious problems, and you realize why are they doing this? Because they want to automate everything, and so it's automation to get UBI. And it's to turn our country into a controlled civilization. And it's like, I am so sorry here, but you're telling me right now that, I forget what school it was in the Midwest, a very, very good medical school. 13 of the 15 residencies were from Pakistani foreign nationals. Yeah. I remember I was going to go to med school. I remember they told you it's almost impossible to get a good residency. Why? I knew there's competition. Americans want those spots. But Americans get grants, or they can't charge Americans as much, and the government gives the schools money and grants for accepting these people. There's a benefit. Like, why did the labor do that? That $4 million wasn't for young white kids or the Africans. It's only for the Africans. So it's like, if we don't take it, then we don't get it. And so it's institutional sabotage down to the wire. And you realize, like, you have a fat woman. Go to that picture there. You got a fat woman and a Lebanese woman. Yeah. Deciding where $4 million goes into helping people go winga mahonga. It's the Lion King, real action.
Do you know the way, brother?
Yeah, brother.
But the thing is,
what do you want me to do?
It's kind of disrespectful to lions. I'm pretty sure a lion has a higher IQ.
What than a fourth tier 4D dude? That's what I was gonna say. Someone on the show. I had someone on the show that said,
then engineers and doctors. Yeah.
But they said, we need to do this. They go, we need to start opening up cultural centers. Like, you want to make money as a right-wing person? Start a podcast. Don't make any money and just open up African cultural centers, and you'll get as much funding as you want. Yeah. But you make a podcast to preserve your culture and your society, you're not going to get anything.
We should try that.
So what we saw there, her name is Anne Alley. She's the Multicultural Affairs Minister for the left-leaning Labor government in the country. She came to office in 2016. She was the first female Muslim to become a politician in the country because
isn't that against Islam?
Well, it's meant to be, right?
Fake Islam, fake Muslim.
Well, Islam is right about women.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm still yet.
Muslims are completely right about women.
But she attained office based on the back of Orange Man Bad in 2016, and she was going to be there as a fighting force as a Muslim to deny Donald Trump the opportunity to deport certain people to certain countries, or there were 7 countries, Muslim majority nations, which he preferred to work against. So all she does now is she goes out and she harnesses ethnic racial minorities in our country and elevates them and allocates them federal funding as well. And by doing that, they will vote for her forever, and she thinks she'll be safe. But she's an enemy. She's a subversive in our country, and honestly, she needs a cultural expedition to the Taliban so they can retrain her.
But what about the gay?
Well, that's what I was going to say. No, but it's even worse, better than that. Because you said, like, Muslims are right about women, and they're right about the gay community. What happens when a Muslim gets in office? Let's check on Mamdani here.
Yeah,
what is he focused on?
He's a fake one.
How will gay people affordably get around New York if you're elected? Also, have you ever jumped the turnstile?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Period.
Gay people will afford New York City because what we're going to do at the core of every single proposal is to make the city affordable, whether it's in housing, freezing the rent, public transit, making buses fast and free, or with universal childcare. There are too many queer families that think that when they have a kid in New York City, that means they have to leave.
Dude, well, period is one thing.
We saw these people at the dinner tonight. What in the fuck?
Yeah, well, he says period, and it's like, yeah, well, that's the closest to a period you're ever going to get, sir.
That's the full sentence. Just one quickly on the one that was at dinner tonight. The one that stood out to me the most, Wayne, was the one who rocked up and she was literally trying to be a Mexican cholo. So she'd shaved her head and she looked like
what?
That one, but that one was the one.
There was a group of transgenders that walked by, and Weston was just like staring at them, and I got mixed signals.
Yeah, I was very grossed out.
When you're doing this,
there was like literally every type. There was a dude that was trying to be
thing in my life.
MS-13,
Like
like Mexican.
Mind you, he had a filet mignon worth at least 8 gay bus tickets, okay? Because those are different than regular bus tickets, right? Because gays get around differently. Like this guy said right here, No Pain, No Wayne said, this question is peak absurdity. How will gay people afford New York? Like their rent or bus fare is somehow different from everyone else's? Mom Donnie just pivots to his usual socialist wish list and acts like it's a win.
See, the thing about Mondami is if he was a real Muslim, he'd throw him off the skyscrapers in New York.
Ooh.
I don't condone that, by the way. That's very evil. Only horrible countries, the worst countries on earth do that. That I want to move to.
Look, but sounds like someone said this. Jim in Minnesota said, sounds like my horrible 6th grade president who promised us he would put Coke in the water fountains if we voted for him. Were you guys ever in ASB?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I was 8th grade president.
Nice.
And I was bullied a lot. I'm still bullied a lot. You know, what happened to no online bullying? We should start putting out like fake PSAs. Like, stop it. Stop the bullying. No, but it's true. Like, I remember like, we were going to make sure that like, you know, there's like 10 minutes. Like, we're talking about like changing school policy. That's basically what the government is. It's like, we're going to make it 10 minutes late is okay twice a week. And it's like, and then you get into office and it's just like, you guys are deciding what color t-shirts we're going to sell for graduation, you know? And your real power doesn't supersede the standard institution. I don't know if people's faith and morals and platforms can outweigh the power of the institution in our country right now. And I don't really know if voting is how we're going to get out of this. I'm afraid.
Taking away voting is how we got out of it.
Well, I guess we're waiting for like a economic collapse or something. You know, the conditions have to be
like
right.
El Salvador.
Yeah, the conditions have to be right for something new to replace it. I think, unfortunately, that's what it has to be.
I think the future of this country is far right or far left.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going.
Oh, yeah. And I think we're really big and we're really fragile. You know, some sad news developed over the weekend. I know we hear a lot about the shutdown of InfoWars. I think it's actually happening, possibly. The Onion has actually finally worked on a deal. And the #1 user of Melanotan in history, Alex Jones, we can put this on the screen here. It's crazy. No, he's just dark from the lights. But Alex Jones addressed this on InfoWars Day. Listen.
But none of you took something from them.
Right.
We've already checked with lawyers, so they're in deep shit. I'm already suing the Democrat Party law firms. Already got civil rights lawsuits. So you think, look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me.
Uh-oh. Folks, the Onion has stolen the shirt off of Alex Jones's back at this point, and it's a sad thing to see.
Alex Jones goated.
Are you an employee of the Onion now, Alex?
He's a real American.
No, we laugh about this, but a year and a half ago,
that's what an American looks like.
Yep.
And it was all a fraud. This time they've had a court hearing, and they're announcing they own us, which shows with this judge that's been super corrupt, the state judge, it's already a done deal. But don't worry, we got a bunch of legal avenues. It'd be one thing if they just shut us down, but they are telling the New York Times, and I've seen more videos, that they're going to misrepresent, if you played the trailer, misrepresent that they're us, confuse people and, quote, rip people off like Alex Jones did, they're going to make money. The whole thing's about defaming me. You can't take something over and then act like you're somebody, even if you say it's a parody. You can do a parody of somebody, but none of you took something from them.
Right.
We've already checked with lawyers, so they're in deep shit. I'm already suing the Democrat Party law firms. Already got civil rights lawsuits. So you think, look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me. So let's be 100% clear about that. And so you guys just keep laughing, just like you did a year and a half ago, or it was November 2024. So is that about a year and a half?
Yeah, this is a story from December 10th. Sale of Alex Jones' InfoWars to the Onion rejected. And I'll get into this. And
So but yeah, they need to be us to confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. He goes, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead. Okay.
I looked it up. The Onion gets less than half of the traffic that InfoWars gets.
I remember they said they were going to beat Charlie Kirk. Remember when he died, they said we're going to misrepresent fake quotes of him. This is what the left do. They try to silence you, then they misrepresent who you are. They're body snatchers. They're skinwalkers. They literally take your skin. This is going to backfire big time, folks. Anyways, but hey, you may try to take our skin, you may try to take our clothes, but we're still the real InfoWar. And everybody's going to understand that the InfoWars is a generic term. A website doesn't matter. Everybody's an info warrior. Don't let them convince you of this. It's going to blow up big time in their face.
Did you see the Ben Collins video where he says we're in an information war?
No.
Yeah, it's an old video where he was doing it at the National Press Club. And he says, we're in an information war right now, and the truth is hard to find. So they've lost the information war, and so they've resorted to lawfare.
And then taking on our skin.
Yeah.
Just as you got a man's coat, don't mean you're them.
No, it's ridiculous. And again, yeah, they just do it.
Forget.
They get away with it.
The Paul Weiss law firm ran all this. Trump settled with them. They settled, and now Trump's on their side.
Yep.
So, hey, feel good, guys. You're on Trump's side. You said it was so bad.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it. They are literally on the bad guy's side. So, yeah, it's going to fail.
Wait, we don't own the AlexJonesStore.com. That's how they back us. That's how they keep us on air. You can't get that.
Yeah, so as you guys know, again, the AlexJonesStore.com, that is the only way that we get funding. If you go there, we stay on air. If you don't, we go away. That's how it works. The Onion cannot make us go away. Okay? The lawyers cannot make us go away. The only way we go away is if you don't support us.
And people get confused. It'll be the Alex Jones Network. New news sites. You'll hear about it all soon. All ready to launch. Same people. Harrison, we're going to expand all of it.
Yep, absolutely. And we've been waiting for this, y'all. We have been under a wet blanket of bankruptcy for a long time. It has severely restricted what we've been able to do. We're about to explode. We're about to launch, folks. We are on the launch pad. The countdown has begun. May 1st is the date. I believe I heard Alex say that on air today. We'll be switching over. So do make sure you're following us on X, because if you want to know where we go, if they take down the website or whatever, and you're wondering where we are, and you got to do this, because I know people get in the habit. I told the story the other day, but I had a neighbor, and when we got kicked off YouTube in like 2019, he was like, yeah, I miss seeing Alex. I'm like, well, we still have Band.video. And his response was just like, yeah, I watch YouTube. And it's just like, that's how some people are. If you're not on their favorite platform, you just disappear and you don't exist anymore. Just don't fall into that trap.
All right. So we're getting into a position now where we are losing InfoWars possibly. And I want to give a really important conversation here. You know, in the future, we're not going to go so much over the court cases and stuff. We're kind of over that. But, you know, I had mentioned that the reason why we went off the air for a little while is because my brother-in-law and my ex-wife worked with Milo and a few other people to sabotage the investors for Rift, to sabotage our advertisers and stuff. And the real goal was to get Rift off the air ahead of Operation Epic Fury, because we were about to get a big investment, multi-million-dollar investment, to hire a bunch of people who were against the Zionist movement. And so they came after us very, 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 very tactfully too, like blackmailing people. And, you know, people don't want to deal with that. And people kind of forgot in the process, you know, they were threatening to kill James O'Keefe. Tierman also already shut down, you know, James's first operation. They're trying to threaten to kill him now. They tried to kill Nick Fuentes. They killed Charlie Kirk, which is the most serious. I don't know, you know, they did try to kill, they say they tried to kill, Rabbi tried to kill Candace Owens. You know, there's definitely been this idea against the media, and people don't realize that. You know, people say, oh, Elijah blames the Jews for his problem. No, I'm just saying that some Jews did work with my family to dismantle this. And now Alex Jones had a bailout from Elon Musk, and I think he's still going to lose right now. I actually reached out to their team tonight. I'm not going to say who it was, to say, hey, look, you're welcome to use our studios. They're not going to do it, but I said, you're welcome to use our studios. You're welcome. We're not going to let you fall either. There is an attempt now, when you can't discredit people, to just try to kill or dismantle what they've built. And that's the goal. That's what's going on here. And you have to realize, like, there's no one coming to save you. The Republicans are telling you if you're not Mark Levin, you're not MAGA, right? If you're not Mark Levin, you're not MAGA. I saw a picture today about MAGA, and it was actually pretty true. And this is not an attack on either of these people.
Did you see the
who are here?
I have a question.
Wait, one second. Let me show this real fast. This is not an attack on these people in this picture here. But High Res, the rapper, who's very popular in the Republican Party, said one thing you can't call Laura is a coward. Laura Loomer doesn't back down from a fight. She's a voice for the voiceless. I respect that. Now, this is a voice for the voiceless. This is Mar-a-Lago. I've been there many times. And he's there with Laura, you know, and this is the MAGA. And somebody named Based Blonde XX said, MAGA is literally just Jewish people now, right? Which is not even a mean statement. It's just saying that it is.
It's true.
And what it comes down to is Alex just flipped. Like I talked about Benny Johnson, how Benny Johnson just flipped on Israel. And all of a sudden there's an attempt to discredit and take him down. A very coordinated attack, right? You got Ashley St. Clair coming after him. You got Milo. You got different people trying to take him down.
I didn't know Benny Johnson.
Do you think it's interesting that Alex has been winning this case for the longest time, and then he loses all of a sudden when he flips on Israel and finally accepts it? I think there's a connection there.
Well, he's contesting it too, so there's still a chance. He's saying it's bullshit. He's saying they've done this before. They did this big media campaign saying they bought InfoWars and they've acquired it for sure this time, but it might actually be satirical. It's hard to say. Alex says he's contesting it in court. They are actually trying to acquire it, but Alex is fighting it, so hopefully he gets it back, but it is looking a little bit grim. Okay.
Alex Jones needs to stay around because Alex Jones is an American icon and he is known globally as a champion of America and everything America is meant to stand for. So by coming after him, they're trying to take out one of the loudest voices who is globally recognized that would advocate for your country and would call out politicians of all calibers if he thinks they're heading in the wrong direction. The whole Sandy Hook misnomer, people get that wrong, but in large part, Alex was actually convicted and prosecuted for words other people have said that came onto his program. That's not the worst thing you got wrong, and he's not Jesus Christ, so he's allowed to get things wrong occasionally. I think the whole $1 billion judgment was utterly ridiculous.
Well, it is about making a statement, isn't it?
And, well, the whole reason why they're taking him out, George, is because he is so impactful. Like, this guy, even when he streams on X, like, he'll just put the InfoWars feed streaming on X, and he'll have 200,000 plus listeners every single time, 24/7.
Yep.
He's a hero. He's an American hero, American patriot.
He is. And he destroyed Piers Morgan on his own show over a decade ago when Piers was going for gun grabbing in the United States as well. And not too many people are familiar with that, but that's one of the best clips ever. Piers Morgan had Alex Jones on his primetime show on CNN for 2 segments, and it was 15 minutes of Alex Jones doing his very best work and destroying Piers Morgan. Not long after that, Piers Morgan was exited from CNN and flew back to England because Alex Jones showed him up for what he was, a redcoat here trying to tell Americans what they need to do and try to tell Americans how they should interpret their constitution. It will never fly. I think Trump missed a serious opportunity day one of the second term before Carolyn coming out to be the press secretary. Alex Jones should have walked out as a press secretary on day one, just so people would lose their mind. It would have been just for comedic value, but also he's a serious news person at the end of the day. And he's been all across it since day one. Alex Jones actually made me aware
the frogs gay.
Well, he made me aware of what happened at Waco. So when I was here, I went across to Waco to see what was happening there. And Alex Jones has helped a lot of people behind the scenes for a very, very long time.
He helped me, man. I tell people it was the Obama Deception, the documentary that was on YouTube that woke me up to politics.
Yeah.
When I was like, about a freshman, 8th grade freshman. I don't know exactly the day that I saw it, but he said that Obama was ushering in a gay socialist order, that the government was going to turn on its own people and start focusing on locking us up for being patriots. And that's where we were headed. And that's what it was about. That Obama was about bringing in a new face of hope into a new government regime that was going to use the Patriot Act. Got to watch it to eventually lock us up. And they were going to create, he said, like health camps and lock people up in health camps in the name of health orders. This was like back in 2007, 2006. Yeah. And so, this is like 20 years ago. I'm really aging myself here. This is like 20 years ago. A lot of people who watch this show or who watch Nick, or people that they're like 20 or younger, and he was warning us about this. And it's kind of diabolical when you get into it, because Alex is getting persecuted because you know what's happening? NBC News posted this clip about what young people feel. And this is the state-run media. This is our RT. It's funny watching American state-run media on Russian state-run media, but watch.
Gen Z, that rising generation. Look at this. Across party there, 3/4 of Gen Z say they sympathize more with the Palestinians than the Israelis. That's a massive sea change.
It certainly is. It'll be fascinating to see how that plays out in the midterm. Steve Kornacki, thank you.
74%. That's massive. So although the GOP is just Jewish now, the young people are absolutely not. They're absolutely against that. I mean, it's looking good for us, at least in the near future. Next 10 years, it's like this will be the whole country.
And Alex made 2 documentaries about Obama. The first one, Elijah referenced, which was the Obama Deception. And then I believe that came out just before he commenced his first term, which showed that he was a Marxist plant. He was actually put there by Bill Ayers, formerly of the Weather Underground, and certain Chicago mafia types, but white-collar mafia in Chicago. And he was there to be their vassal, and he was going to utilize his outward appearance to win the black vote, and he was also going to use that as some type of force field to prevent any negative aspersions being thrown his way or constructive criticism or strong criticism thrown his way as racism. Then the second film, which came out just in 2012, I think, was called The Fall of the Republic. So if anyone is unfamiliar with both of those, go back and watch The Obama Deception and The Fall of a Republic. It's going to give you an accurate history of what took place in your country, what the aspiration of the Obama handlers by placing him into the presidency was, and then the culmination fulfillment of that through 2012 to 2016. So he's a pertinent person in your country, man, and I don't think you'll be able to silence him. And do you know what? There's going to be an AI version of Alex Jones as well, which I think will live on forever. But they'll never top his own clips because Alex Jones is one out of the box, and yeah, he'll never be replaced.
No, he can't though.
He's a man of his
time. But
time.
this is why. This started with Alex actually, with the censorship going on, because Alex was big on YouTube, and people like me found him on YouTube.
Yeah,
and that's where I originally found him too.
Yeah, you found these people on YouTube, and what happened is people like Gavin, people like Alex, they did something that we're trying to do here on Rift, and this is why they don't like us. It's not just the Israel stuff. They don't like it when you find young talent and you help grow them, because they want to control who are the voices. They want to control who the talent is. They want to have the strings on Pinocchio. And what is a Pinocchio is that when he lies, it's obvious, right? Because his nose grows. And the problem is when you're a puppet, there's a lot of depth to that. When you're a puppet, people can tell when you're a liar, You're not real. You're fake. And there's a lot of fakeness. And I think Gen Z grew up with everything being fake, right? The synthetic sex through pornography. They grew up like, dude, Gen Z will literally talk shit on alcohol and then be like on GHB and ketamine. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, dude? They'll be like, oh, I'm sober. I just do Ket and G and M and Molly and ecstasy. And you're like, dude, that's literally called drug addiction.
Yeah.
But it's funny because everything to them is so synthetic. They don't even see using real drugs like ketamine or these things as being synthetic. Like, oh, well, I don't use salvia and I don't use, whatever. And you have this whole country where people are growing up in a fake reality and they just want something real. And you realize that there's a push against something real. And I'm going to say this, because I really don't want to war with her. I've known her for a long time. Not that she knows anything about me. I just don't want to fight with her. I don't fight with Jews, that's just kind of like my thing. But Laura Loomer, she completely switched 180. Like she was kind of this, going against Indians, going against everything. And she just went, I'm going to accept the machine and just whatever Trump says is God. And I'm going to tell him what he wants to hear. And she's had enormous career success from that, and I mentioned before on the show that she's randomly texts me like, and I like basically she's cutting me off. And I was just like, what did I do to you? Like I had just seen her at a freaking baby shower. I'm like, what did I do to you? And she's like, she admitted I didn't do anything. And she's like, well, I don't actually hate you or whatever it is. There's a long message, but it's like, so I don't hate her. I just like, I don't have the ability to switch up like that. I kind of have to be real. I have to be honest, but the internet's a fake place. And I realized that you don't have to be honest on the internet. In fact, lies get the most traction. The devil is the father of lies. And people slop it up. They would say it's much more easier to spread a lie about a man than to correct one, right? Because that's the whole thing. The whole world is a lie. The lie of women's place in the government. It's actually so funny that there's this girl who put out these videos. She's Jewish, by the way, about like when you're pressing 30 years old and how to like get a guy. And she's like, the guy's like, so what's your name? And she's like, well, I cook and I clean. And he's like, but what's your name? She's like, I cook and I clean.
It's
and
funny
the guy's
how
like,
they say that when they're like 30.
no, I know, but he's just joking. But he goes, well, what do you like to do? I mean, like, what are you into? And she's like, cooking and cleaning. And he's like, I mean, did you have any boyfriends before? And she's like, cook and clean for you? And then she's like, and then he's like, but I don't get it. Why do you say cook and clean? She's like, yeah, I get what you mean. I just don't think women should vote. And she meant it as a joke. And all the comments, like thousands of guys being like, now they're starting to get it. Now the girls are getting it. Like, that's all we wanted from you. And people are like, you know, this is fake. Because any girl that likes to cook and clean wouldn't be on a dating app. She would already be married with kids. So and it's like we live in a world where it's false about women, it's false about marriage, and they're destroying every institution in our lives. People don't even want to reproduce because their lives are so miserable. They don't want anybody else to live in this life. Because if you try to do right, you know, it's like they say in the last days, right? We're warned in the Bible that they'll call good evil and evil good, you know, and that people will be lovers of themselves. They'll be unruly. And I think we've all fell prey to that, where I've realized that even the podcasting world now is just a bunch of babies, where Trump said something really crazy, and it's scary what Trump said in this Truth Social post. Trump still remains the one and only person on Truth Social to this day. It's true. He's the only person, but he said something that I just, you know, one of these things, you know, when he does this up, we just don't even read it all, so we just underlined it for you here.
What happens? Oh,
fuck. All right. We just where he just does this thing, and he's like, okay, I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen. So he's willing to give up his rights as a citizen for our great military and our country. Our military patriots desperately need FISA 702, and it is one of the reasons, particularly one of the main reasons, why he says, I've spoken with many in the military who say FISA is necessary to protect our troops overseas, as well as the people that are basically have prevented so many attacks. And I think that's crazy, because he says, I am willing to give up my rights and privileges as a citizen, but I'm not willing to give up my rights. I'm not willing to give up my privileges. And he also puts privileges, which is a very left-wing word, right? A privilege, right? You're privileged to live in this country. And it's true. It is a privilege. And now it's even a privilege even more to live here. It's a privilege even more to be in this country. It's a privilege even more to be in this land than it ever was before. But what it means to be in this country, what it means to be in this land, has intentionally become something much more disgraceful, something that I'm not proud of, which is that we are being coaxed and we are being prodded, like during 9/11, where it just used to take a catastrophic event like 9/11 to remove our rights. Now we have our president saying like, hey, look, we're not even going to give you anything now. Like, we're not going to give you a great war. Just, you need to give up your rights for our military. And it's like, that might be okay if our military was being used to protect the homeland. You know, I understand there's war power acts and there's things that need to happen. But right now, I mean, do you know that I think, that wasn't Qatar, UAE was attacked 2,800 times, 2,800 missiles and drones, more than Israel. And you don't even hear about that during the Iran war. They're the most attacked country. And we're censored from knowing that. We don't even talk about that because the focus had to be on the threat to Israel. It looks like Iran has a greater threat to the UAE than to Israel. But that's not what our military is there for. Our military is not to protect the UAE. It's not to protect Bahrain. It's not to protect Qatar. It's not to protect Yemen. It's to protect what? Israel. And so it's scary because what he's saying here is that it is my privilege to give up my rights and my privileges. That's the president of the United States, so that we can protect Israel. And I just don't buy that. I don't play into that. And I think that the world is in a bit of a dark and a scary place. And I don't think that you can ask anything less of Gen Z than to be radicalized. There's nothing to die for, and there's really nothing to live for, which is why a lot of people are turning to Orthodoxy and Catholicism today in the last days, because there's nothing to live for except for Christ and God himself. But it's very hard to do in a world where we are basically given every sin that even emperors and kings didn't have as much access to, right? So we have sin at our fingertips, right? Gossip and lies, slander, malicious attacks. We have pornography and sex and all these things, and it's very tempting, and it's very easy to access, and it's scary. But we're being told, guess what? Do more of the things that hurt you, but when it comes to the things that protect you, you're gonna have to give them up so that Israel can have the rest of its land. I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. I reject the system. And I have to think long and hard about what's going on here because we currently live in a construct. I'm going to tell you, this is very groundbreaking news. I'm almost going to clip this. Ready for this? We live in a society. That is all. That's crazy, right? Did you know that?
Well, speaking of the military, Alex Karp, I think you have the article you had it pulled up a minute ago. Alex Karp from Palantir, the CEO of Palantir, he's saying that we need to reinstate a mandatory military draft for all young men today to get them in the military.
Sweet.
That's because no one wants to die for this country.
Yeah. Check
I mean,
this
I
out.
wouldn't die for this shit.
Palantir backs return of U.S. military draft, slams regressive cultures in 22-point manifesto. You want to scroll down a little?
Yeah, give me a second. Take that off the screen for a second. It's just frozen.
Oh, it's frozen.
Yeah.
So on the other thing, Weston, whilst we're waiting for that, America wants to justify all of these things, and Trump is obviously trying to justify that because they refer to support of Israel as in America's best interests. So although Americans find a lot of what they're doing or their government is doing extremely objectionable, Uncle Sam himself, he says, hey, I'm all good for this because it advances American interests. Now, Weston, I guess the question to you is, as an American, my man, at what point should American interests purely be beholden to within the confines of your own borders within America? And then how do you determine whether or not something overseas should have preference over an American interest here at home?
Well, what's to say? Is this war making America richer, safer, and our citizens better, and our people healthier?
Yeah.
The answer is no. So it does not serve our interest.
So it isn't an American interest. He's
Zero.
trying to sell it as
Zero.
that. And so even though they may justify it whichever way they please, it still will
Is
not
this war
pass.
making you richer, Elijah?
I won't pass the test for you guys.
Making you richer?
No, this war has been horrible for Australia, for my country. I don't even know what it's going to look like when I get back.
Yeah. You know what is making it richer? We're refunding the bonds, the tariffs. This is actually crazy. Before we read the article, I thought about this today. You know, we're refunding the tariffs to the manufacturers, the people who paid the tariffs to bring their stuff in, plus interest. However, during the time the tariffs were in, they passed the cost of the tariffs on to the citizens. So we paid the tariffs. We don't get a refund. The people who were charged for the tariffs get free money for their inconvenience, the big businesses, and also Trump and his friends basically, I don't know what you call that, shorted or whatever the stocks, and basically are profiting off of this. So you get people profiting off of Wall Street off of this.
That's because everyone's getting pardoned. There's not going to be any punishment. There's not going to be any
I think
justice.
they're all going to go to jail.
They're all getting pardoned.
They're all getting
The
pardoned.
president can do that. He can pardon everybody, and he will. He said he will. That's why they're doing this.
Like I would bet right now that Trump's impeached and removed. As soon as the Democrats win.
So if midterms flips, you best believe that's happening.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're already talking about it right now, and kind of like rightfully so. You know, he's acting like a damn lunatic right now. You can tell by his 10-paragraph message. You know, he used to be cool back in the day. He would say like, "That bitch is fat." Well, now he just writes a whole fucking paragraph on True Social that only he is on there and listens to.
And there's not too many capitals in there. A lot of the time it'll be in all caps, right? With this one, there isn't too many.
You know, if a man has to explain himself in paragraphs, he's not really a man anymore.
Yeah.
Well, listen, speaking of paragraphs, Palantir and CEO Alex Karp called on the U.S. to pursue AI-powered weapons, reinstate the military draft, and shy away from regressive cultures. Billed as a summary of Karp's 2025 book, The Technological Republic, the wide-ranging 1,000-word post on X outlined the AI software company's positions on how Silicon Valley and the U.S. government should adapt to the rise of artificial intelligence. Palantir said that it shared the post because we get asked a lot. The question is not whether AI weapons will be built, but who will build them. Our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theatrical debates about the merits of developing technologies with critical military and national security applications. They will proceed. He said we should, as a society, seriously consider moving away from all volunteer force and only fight the next war if everyone shares in the risk and the cost. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You missed the paragraph you missed is important. He said, Karp and fellow Palantir executive Nicholas Zemska, who co-wrote The Technological Republic, also argued that national service, including compulsory military enlistment, should be a universal duty for U.S. citizens.
It never has been because we've always had more than enough people. In fact, I remember back when I was younger, there was waiting lists for certain divisions, right? There were waiting lists to get on. You didn't need, they had too many people trying to sign on for Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of people just signed on to fight against the war on terror because we got to save the opium poppies. We got to make sure that the oil and gas can get to Israel. And then we find out that we're just geostrategically
Iran needs OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. We're fighting a geostrategic battle in order to implement a greater Israel project. And now it's that people don't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
So now you got to fight. You have to fight. This is the downfall of a republic. This is like, go watch Star Wars episode 1 through 3. Watch the republic fall apart. Eventually, you get the War Powers Act. Everything gets together. And I only mentioned that because I remember Fleck has asked a individual, where did we see communism work the best at a protest against Trump? And he said, Star Trek, which was a great answer. Star Trek, it worked in a movie.
Well, it does appear, Elijah, that the only reason why they're even raising this specter now of potentially bringing in guys by force to join via conscription is because they've got a future war planned and they want to roll out that war, and they know that they will not be able to get even close to the amount of men required to join that war voluntarily for them. Bush was able to sell the war on terror and have plenty of new sign-ups because he said, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. He pointed a finger at these guys, called them the towelheads, al-Akbars, whatever. But because the attack had taken place here, a lot of young American men with military histories, or some without even military histories, they decided their best thing they could do to demonstrate their patriotism was to go and sign up for Uncle Sam. But these people know. They know that young men, regardless of what's taking place around the world, short of a catastrophic major attack here in this country, will not be enough of an impetus for them to draw them out to fight the war.
If you told every young man right now that, hey, you're going to sign up for the military, but we're going to go into the big cities and take out all these fucking criminals and take them back to Mexico and these countries, you would have the biggest list of all time.
Yeah, they'd have 5 million young guys, right?
I would join. I would join right now. Wouldn't you, Elijah?
Well, yes, I may be, but I would say this. We have some bigger problems at home. Look at this. It's Home Depot. It's affecting Home Depot now. I didn't even know they went to Home Depot.
This is just unbelievable, man.
Cameraman fail, right?
This is what Iran doesn't want.
I love how it's like a Tuesday. Like, should you be at work or something? I thought Section 8 housing had repairs already from management companies.
They were going there to build their kingdoms, to get materials for their kingdoms.
Wakanda.
In all seriousness, if you could put a number on it,
how many it's on while we play it? Make sure. Yeah. Just put on number 27 when it's up.
Yeah, well, I can't remove the watermark. I have an issue with my button.
If you were just going to throw a ballpark figure at it, Elijah, hey, how many of these people actually live in your country, Wayne? This type of person, poor impulse control, not necessarily African-American, but willing to pop off at a moment's notice in public, forget about anyone else. Is there 5 million, 10 million?
They are great. Of them. They are great at engineering, actually. They're great at engineering how to destroy a fucking country.
It's outrageous.
It's a Royal Rumble. I love how they call it the Royal Rumble.
But it's normalized within them now. I've seen it so frequently now that it doesn't seem like it's outside of the scope. It appears that this is bubbling under the surface anytime you have groups of them together in close confinement. And it could pop off like that. And it wouldn't matter if old Betty's there trying to get a bloody nail or a hammer. She's going to get knocked down and stomped on as well. Is it because there's no repercussion for them, Weston? What's the deal here? How come they can so easily move to that type of conduct in public when we typically wouldn't do that because we were either raised differently or it's just not a part of our genetics? There is something inherent.
Well, I had a father. They obviously don't.
Well,
that's a simple.
But there's something different though because they're hitting each other with wooden sticks, and like we so don't care about black violence. It's like we don't even care if they kill each other or use weapons. We don't actually care. There was actually a post that someone put, and obviously I don't condone.
I mean, if I ever acted like that, my dad would have beaten the fucking shit out of me. If I acted like that right now, he'd beat the fucking shit out of me. I mean,
I agree, but this person put this up. This totally condemn this. said this man killed all of his kids, and someone said that's a relief. Okay, that's crazy. That's horrible.
Yeah,
that is horrible.
That is kind of.
I don't even know if that's true. I don't think that's even true. That's an absolutely horrible thing to even joke about killing kids. But
someone did just. There was actually a shooting. I assume this is it.
Was it like the 8 people in Louisiana?
That's kind of like. So he killed 7 children as well as an additional child that wasn't his.
The Catholic in me. Is
I don't know if that's him. That might be him.
So was that the 8? Because I thought the 8 was a school shooting, but if it was the dad, it makes it even worse.
No, it was a dad. I believe he killed 7 of his own children. And then he killed an additional child who I assume was staying there.
Have you guys seen this, though? You don't need your children when you can have your new family in the LGBTQ community.
What? I was there. I saw
the third lesbian.
Yeah, just lesbians doing lesbian type shit. No, but it is a very serious thing, with what's going on. And I bring this up because, before we jump into that, I just want to remind people that we do have a big, can we have some music playing, please? Thank you. We have a very big super chat here from the one and the only Unity Not Diversity. Says the clean break memo, PNAC, Wolfowitz doctrine, Wesley Clark 7. It's been known Iran was the last piece for at least 20 years. Forrestal, Fulbright, Sobran, Buchanan, Mearsheimer all tried to warn us, and that is true. They warned us, as I told you, we'll get them eventually. If people think this is an isolated war, we already had another war with them last year. We're not stopping with them. And eventually we will try to take the regime down. We will have boots on the ground at some point. But it's true. But I'm saying, we have problems at home, and that's what we're focused on. It's very interesting to see the level of coordination. And you have to realize we will take Iran, or try to, but now we've already moved on to Cuba. So we'll just wait till we move into Cuba. That'll be kind of nice. Cuba Baduba. Thank you for the super chat. And I mean, weird thing, switching to science a little bit in the discussion here. There's a big discussion about whether our government unleashed Lyme disease. To try to reduce the amount of meat consumption in our country. There is an uptick suddenly of tick bites.
I told a bitch one time I had that.
I think this was proven.
I have to fuck her.
I think this was proven that it came from a bio lab of some kind. There was a report on this. I saw.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look.
Listen to this.
Estimated that almost 500,000 people end up getting treated for Lyme every year, much more than what the official estimates are.
Yeah. So I was in Vermont last fall, and I had a tick on me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where was it?
On my waist.
On your waist,
First of all, it's tiny, but incredibly difficult to remove, and then remarkably difficult to kill.
How did you spot it?
I felt it. We did a tick check, and I felt it on my waist. Not the bite. You feel the bump on your skin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, and that's a typical spot. Your waist, under your arms, your scalp. I remember when I was like 5, I had a tick in my hair that must have been there for a while before my mom found it. And so you really do need to check yourself everywhere, especially some of those hidden spots.
Okay.
When you've been out in the woods, camping, in tall grasses, that's where you're most likely to get exposed. So when you come in, put your clothes in the dryer on high heat for at least 10 minutes. That will kill the ticks. So that's actually one way to reliably kill the ticks. And then check yourself all over, take a shower right away. But you're right, they are very hard to kill.
If you stay out of the woods, do you have to worry about it? And if you have a dog, do you have to worry about getting a tick from your dog?
Well, this is one of the reasons we actually try to prevent tick bites in dogs, because they can bring the ticks home, and you can get the tick then and get infected, whether it's Lyme, and there's other infections like ehrlichiosis, anaplasmosis, babesiosis. It's not just Lyme.
All these osises.
Yeah, and they're not good. Trust me, I've taken care of these patients in the hospital. So there's a lot of reasons you want to be avoiding tick bites.
But if you stay out of the woods, do you have to worry about it?
Well, so woods are definitely a high-risk area, but if you're on trails with tall grasses, you want to stick to the middle of the trail to reduce your exposure.
Gotcha.
And then some of the other things, permethrin spray on your clothing that lasts through multiple washes and kills ticks on contact. And then insect repellents with either DEET or Picardin on your skin.
Why aren't the Indians that we get?
We have a follow-up video, by the way.
Do we?
Yep.
All right.
That's
So
what I
apparently,
mentioned earlier.
apparently,
Alex Jones clip.
Yeah. So apparently they did declassify this. Check this out.
Robot-controlled cashless society grid. Do you really want a social credit score? Do you really want a universal basic income? Do you really want this future they say they're building that's obsolete for humans? They just declassified that the CIA created Lyme disease at Plum Island off New York with Nazi scientists in the 1950s and purposely released the ticks. I told you that 30 years ago with scientists. We already had documents. Now it's totally confirmed. What type of government pulls crap like that?
He still has so much aura.
You know how many people I know who had their lives devastated by Lyme disease? that was, it's tick-borne syphilis.
Trump's aura.
That's what it is. They just don't freak you out when they tell you that. Eat your joints, eat your organs, eat your brain. I have family. One of them on a rock climbing thing in Oklahoma about 15 years ago. Great shape, wonderful. Got Lyme's disease, didn't know it for about a year, went undiagnosed. By the time it took them 6 months of antibiotics to get rid of it, ate their joints and had an effect on the brain because it's weaponized syphilis. Syphilis will do that to you. Yeah, you don't just get syphilis in the old days from a prostitute. You get rot holes all over your body and bloody holes in your hands. That's the old-fashioned one. Lyme's disease is weaponized, so it doesn't show up on the surface as much. It shows up internally. Yep, got the declassification right here. I can spend an hour on that. Just goes to show you, if you think the government was evil back then, or compartmentalized groups of it, imagine how evil it is now.
All right, so yeah, we're finding out that our government is at war with us, and they've been at war with us, figuring out how they can make us sicker and slower. And it just comes down to the fact of like, what is this government? Why is it that our government is at war with us? And it comes down to the fact that we lost control of our government after World War II. Some say we lost it before World War I, that we went to war in World War II because we lost control of our government. But I don't think the people realize that. We had a famous clip on here of a British patriot on Good Morning Britain or one of those shows, GB News. And they were interviewing him and they're like, what do you have to say to your, like, would you say to your younger self, whatever? He would say, don't fight the war. My brother saw what Britain had become today. Not a single one would have gotten on one of those planes. And they like shut him down, something like that. It was something very similar to that. And they're like, oh, they pat him like, sweetie, thank you so much for coming on. And he's like, dude, to think of the fact that a young white man fighting for America had more in common with a German soldier that he was fighting during World War II than he does in common with a young white man today. He had more in common with a black soldier. A German soldier had more in common with a black soldier or Native American soldier fighting in that war during World War II. In fact, I think we might have even had more in common with a Sikh fighting for Britannia during that time than we do with white people today and what we're fighting for today. It's crazy. And the first thing people do is always like, anyone who's fighting for this, they tear him down. It's like Nick Fuentes will be doing a lot for the country. People are like, oh, he's a homosexual Mexican or something. You're like, dude, what are you doing for the country, white guy?
Exactly.
What are you doing for the country? You're talking shit on this guy. What are you doing? How are you moving the? It's like, well, I'm making money. What are you doing with the money? Are you helping any movements? Are you doing anything? No. If not, then please don't say anything because you're just smug. And white people on both sides, on the progressive and the right side, have this smugness, like Wignats, where it's like, oh, well, but we're white. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing? You're just, flying swastikas and getting people put in jail? Is that really helping?
T-shirts in public?
Is that helping? Yeah. Is that or in dress conditions? Is that helping? Because I don't think it's helping, right? And so, I have found I've done a lot of great work for this country over the years, from exposing Black Lives Matter. And what's funny? Like I mentioned, we go from the fact of during 2020, Trump mentions me by name. The work I did helped expose the violence of the nights of George Floyd, of Antifa and BLM. He says that without my footage, we would never known the true chaos of what went on. And then they have a summit on Antifa. I'm not invited. And I find out the guy who's there that if you have any negative posts about Israel, they wouldn't invite you. And they invited a bunch of Jewish people to talk about Antifa that barely did any work doing that. And it's like, I had my leg broken. I had problems. My hair was falling out from the gas, just working in the gas. Well, the only people who would go in and get the footage, because I was willing to get shot by rubber bullets, had guns pointed at my head, had to be involved in trial, like Kyle Rittenhouse, and they chose not to invite me because they said I had too many negative posts about our allies. And I was like, what allies have I spoken out against? I don't know what they're talking about. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then they have the summit like 4 or 5 years later after it doesn't matter. And like, Antifa is a terrorist organization. Where were you when they were doing terrorism? Nowhere to be found. And you look around, it's like, our government isn't here to help us. Our government isn't here to do anything for us. They're not even slowing the decline. It's the equivalent of somebody injecting you with poison and then giving you a little antidote just to lessen the symptoms of the disease they gave you.
Conservatives or liberals going to speed limit.
Yeah. But it's like with this Lyme disease, it's like they're giving us cancer in our food, in our air. They're giving us these diseases and then telling us, well, we'll fund NIH research against Lyme disease. Where's this? Where is the research? What's going on? And it's difficult to process, young patriot. But I do believe fully and thoroughly. They talk about Mexico being controlled by cartels. The United States is controlled by two cartels, by our intelligence community and also by the Israeli institutions. Not just Mossad, but the actual institutions, right? They're a cartel. It's a Jewish cartel that runs our country.
Yeah, their intelligence apparatus. As a whole. And
the Jewish people are more sympathetic and more loyal to the intelligence communities and to their country than they are to the United States and our people. And our nation just doesn't serve you. And it's not just a white issue anymore. If you're black, they forgot about you a long time ago. They don't care about you. They've contained you already. You've been contained. Your population is stagnated, for better or for worse, whether you agree with that or
Blacks
not.
Blacks are just being used to kill the white people.
Well, now they're just used as like a bioweapon.
Yeah,
to spread STDs and to attack us. And it's like, we are declining so quickly. And actually, China isn't doing as good as people think. And you have a huge problem with the same cartel in Russia as well. A huge problem with Indian and Muslim immigration all across the world. This is a globalized effort to create a Tower of Babel, to create a one unified global government with a central currency. And that's what's happening. And it sounds monotonous and boring, but I just wish people would give a fuck. I wish people would give a fuck. And instead, what is our podcast community doing? Talking about Mark Levin's penis. Like, that's not what I care about Mark Levin. It's like, he's a micro penis. Like, he's bad because he's a foreign agent for the Israeli government and is one of the propagandists who's part of the great demise of our nation.
And he says he's American. He says he's American and his view is America, which is absolute bullshit.
I liked what Elijah was touching on. You meet these Wignats especially, and you're like, so what are you doing for the country? And they don't have an answer for it. You have Elijah here. He's sacrificing. You have Nick Fuentes. He's sacrificing. Been sacrificing by being on this show. I'm sacrificing, and it's really sad. You sit down and speak with these people, and they're just scared. They're literally just scared. Well, I'm white. Well, we got to be a lot more
to work then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to do a lot more than just being white. That's not going to help us win.
Yeah. Well, Unity Not Diversity said in the chat, when you replace heroes on Rumble with culture, you replace heroes, culture, heritage, and values within the priorities of a ruling class to feminism, wokeism, communism, church of the GDP, neoliberal ideology. This is what you get. A couple of the individuals on YouTube said K-hole. It has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with the chat. Shouting out to the locals. Shout out to the locals members. This is how I feel about the state of the world right now. Thank you for who posted this. I don't know who posted this. Thank you. That's me. Mad. How do I get out of that? There you go. That was by Genetics Diff. Some of you said Elijah made all of them. He has a history in the gain of function research. Thank you. And Merrimack said Lyme is definitely from a lab, so it doesn't seem far-fetched that meat allergy was one too. Yeah, that's the weirdest part about it, is that it creates a meat allergy. So you really can't eat red meat. You're like an Orthodox fast for the rest of your life. Shrimp is all you get. Prawns on the Barbie. Just to correct, by the way, there is no Australian phrase, correct? Shrimp on the Barbie.
There is not.
They don't even call them shrimp.
It's like a baby prawn. Like, it's tiny, man. So no one wants that shit. If you put those on the Barbie, they'd fucking fall between the grates on the Barbie straight into the flame. You wouldn't be able to get them out. No, it's bigger, but not quite as big as the prawns I've seen here in Texas. But yeah, there is no saying.
There is no saying shrimps on the Barbie, mate. There's never been a thing, and no one says that. They don't even call them shrimp. That's like trying to use math with an African.
The reason why it came to be a saying and something known about Australians, which in fact is not true, is because back in the day, the Australian government conscripted Crocodile Dundee, the dude who played the original Crocodile Dundee, to do a tourism advertisement for Australia to sell to America. And he was standing in the backyard by his Barbie or barbecue, flipping some prawns. But because Americans don't understand the language of prawns on the Barbie, he said throw another shrimp on the Barbie as part of the advertising campaign. And that's how and why it started.
Well, going on to something quite interesting into the world, into global news for a second. It appears according to Joey Manarino, this guy defended his girlfriend from a Somali who was trying to sexually assault her. Somali stabbed him and he tried to defend himself, ending up in the hospital. Scottish justice pursued him with assault charges and convicted him ruining his criminal record while the Somali was free and didn't even show up. So this is the backwardness. Well, listen to this account of what this individual says.
I have a big problem with UK immigration and Europe immigration as a whole. And before you call me a racist, because I'm not, just hear me out. In 2024, in October, I was stabbed by a Somalian immigrant for defending my girlfriend while he was trying to touch her. He hit me first, and I defended myself, and by the time the whole situation had ended, I had realized I'd been stabbed. I was in hospital for 2 days afterwards, and eventually, once I was let out, they arrested me for defending myself. By the time I came back to Scotland, I had to go to court for it, and he didn't. I was basically just fighting in court against no one. And I ended up losing. And this affected my chances of getting a job because it was put down as assault. And eventually that's all gone away now. I took it to court again and they basically just overruled everything because it was, quite frankly, retarded, okay? But it's not just that. It's not just the fact that it happened to me, but it's the fact it's happening to hundreds of people a week, thousands of people a month. It's not okay. It's not okay to bring people from another country with different cultures who think it's okay to do these things into our country without documenting who they are or where they are, who they have connections to, what they want to do here. It's all just wrong, okay? And that's just the way it is.
Okay, so they sounded American. He's American Canadian, maybe? He's Canadian or American. I don't know which one he is, but
I think he's UK.
No, well, he didn't have an accent.
He's not UK.
Yeah, that's what's like immigration. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what we have is like in the court system, the courts are kind of meant to be against the right people now. And that's what we thought Trump was, right? We thought that the courts were persecuting him. Big win for Joe Biggs. I don't know if you saw that, but Joe Biggs got a big ruling. He's now going to be a millionaire for his illegal imprisonment during J6, allegedly. So good for him.
They tried to give him 17 years, bro.
The guy was Scottish, by the way.
Well, he's got to be like, because he said well, yeah, he's probably Scottish now, but he's got an American and Canadian accent. So it's like
Scottish authorities.
No, real Scottishmen speak like that.
That's
all
not.
the time.
No, I'm saying he said that's the problem with UK immigration.
Yeah,
is that that's what he's talking about. He's got to be one of the other. He got to have immigrated there, but he's saying, he's the immigrant. He's a white immigrant, and he's coming in like, I'm coming in. I'm trying to protect a girl from being assaulted. And the Somali gets let scot-free and they go after me for trying to protect her because they're trying to send a message to white people. And that's what you learn. You learn in divorce court. What is divorce court about? It's about trying to teach men to ruin marriage. Divorce court is the number one reason why men don't want to get married because it punishes men. And like I said, I've learned the hard way. I've learned the hard way, and you've learned in court, and a lot of us learn in court that people can say or do anything, and you have to pay to get out of it.
It's nuts.
But the same thing goes with all courts. It's backwards. It's not just men, right? So, and women get no punishment. It's like the Me Too movement. Women can just say you sexually assaulted them or claim things, and you're like, wait a second. And then you don't even do it, and then you have to pay to get out of it. And you go, okay, well, that's just a domestic issue. But it's not a domestic issue because the Me Too movement was huge, and that ruined a lot of people's lives, like Matt Lauer. Do you remember Matt Lauer from the Today Show? I think all he did was like give someone a dildo as a gift, and then he got recorded as like a rapist.
He did a little bit more than that.
Okay. No, but originally,
but
I think
it wasn't rape.
No, it wasn't rape. But what's happening now is so you go. So this is what happens when you let things happen. You go, okay, well that's just the Me Too movement. But obviously, if someone was really sexually assaulted,
leave all women.
Well, like this is what I'm saying. The whole thing is like, so then if someone's getting sexually assaulted, because we're about the Me Too movement, then when someone's actually protecting them, we're obviously going to really get the guy. Not the Somalian guy wasn't trying to give his girlfriend dildos. He was trying to like rape or assault. Like in public. That's real sexual assault. Like some crazy Somalian's trying to fondle you or whatever, or penetrate you, and you go, oh well, of course, if we cared about dildos, maybe we're taking sex more seriously, and we need to actually pursue justice. And then it's like, oh, but Somalians don't. That doesn't count for them because they're here for a different reason. They're here to fuck up the system, and it's racist to prosecute them for this. And in fact, actually, if you get in the way of him because you're hurting his cultural difference, you go to jail. And so it's like, it goes from like, oh, we're going to let gays get married to now, if you disagree with your kid being doctrinally enforced into learning about gays, that you're bad as a parent. And parents do get arrested in other countries. Sometimes they've had problems in the United States just trying to protect their kids from this doctrine. So it's not even like whether a snowball argument is real. It's whether or not how long it takes for the snowball to form. We are in a rapid decline. And it's like, how can you vote your way out of it when you can vote fat lesbians into office?
Yeah.
I don't know. And they win because they get all the money in the PACs and they get, the Soros money. And it's like, we're at a point now where you just feel demoralized. And that's why people are against Israel. They're more for the Palestinians. It's like, hey, maybe something is right about them because they're demoralized too. Maybe they're not terrorists because they're just evil and animals. Maybe they're just terrorists because they're actually demoralized and they don't know what else to do. So they just throw rocks and they just don't want to live like prisoners. And you start to feel like that in your own homeland. It's like, yeah, but you have In-N-Out. And it's like, but you go to In-N-Out and it's just like 50,000 Indians ordering grilled cheeses.
Or the engineers and doctors having a fight. Or the engineers, they just run all over these In-N-Outs and these Whataburgers.
Weston, I went to a pizza shop the other day, man. I saw up on the board it said Hawaiian. I like Hawaiian pizza because it's ham, cheese, and pineapple and sauce. It says the ham, though, is turkey ham. I said to the guy, ham's from a fucking pig. What's this turkey ham shit? He says, oh, I have to, brother. I have to for halal. So they're literally changing up the menus at your American pizza shop to satisfy a consumer base who really doesn't eat pizza regularly on Friday nights anyway, right? So I'm wondering, why are we bending over backwards to satisfy these people?
They need to satisfy us.
100.
You're in this country. You are a guest.
Come satisfy me. But I'm saying,
actually, I don't want them to satisfy me. Actually, after you
people who used to travel to their countries to get satisfied, and now they're here, just they're raping us. And here's the problem. Look, I want to end on this. This is the last clip of the show.
Wow.
But it's like in the United Kingdom, it has over 2 hours. It goes by fast. This pastor, then this has happened in the United States, by the way. He was preaching the gospel based on John 3:16 near a general hospital, and he was arrested for trying to influence, not even trying to do anything. This is all this inference. Like, I'm being sued by the FBI director's girlfriend. She says she inferred that I meant to defame her by saying nothing. That's not even a joke. That's what the lawsuit says, except I had bad posts about Israel. Therefore, I'm a bad person. And it's happening here, but it's also happening there. Check this out. This pastor got arrested for preaching the gospel too close to a hospital.
Yeah.
Jesus said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but should have everlasting life.
I'm Inspector O'Brien here, Korean neighbourhood policing team. Clive, as I discussed to you on the phone today, during the week there, this is safe access zone, as laid out in legislation. Sir, can I just also point out to you that it is illegal to record in a safe access zone? Okay, I'm going to ask you to stop recording.
What's up with police lying all the time?
This is a safe access zone, okay?
Never speak to the police.
There is quite a lot of signposts in this area that point out safe access zone. There's one on the roundabout over there. There's one down there.
What is a safe access
You're within
zone?
100 metres, basically, of the hospital, which is part of the safe access zone.
You have your job too, and I understand that. You're only doing your job. We're not mentioning an abortion, as I said to you. This is not a rally. This is simply proclaiming a message that will change people's lives for everyone.
I'm going to make a final appeal to you. Okay, so attention. You have been directed to leave a safe access zone by police and failed to do so. If you do not leave immediately, police may remove you, and if you resist, you may be removed and liable to prosecution. Okay, Reverend. I am not going to put hands on you and push you out of it, but I am going to tell you, I'm now going to caution you for the offence, okay?
All right, so but like,
imagine Roman soldiers. Like, imagine this in your head. Imagine Roman soldiers arresting other Romans because they were mean to Egyptians that came into their country, that came into Rome. Or it's like, or just like preaching a message about Apollo in Rome, and you get arrested for that because there's Egyptians nearby. Like, that's what's happening here in Britain. That's exactly what's happening. What do you guys think?
It's in Ireland, but it's also, man, what he's actually doing is he's saying, I don't want you to kill children. So the police are stopping him from taking a stance of advocacy against killing children. At the end of the day, that's what he's there for. So to think you can get arrested now in free Western societies because you abhor the killing of children by the state, we've got a problem. But, you know, if you're going to get arrested for one thing, why not get arrested for that?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I also want to say, because Ireland technically, and that's supposed to be the Catholic Ireland, by the way. I don't think that's not Northern Ireland, is it? It could have been Northern Ireland.
No.
I actually don't know.
No, they'd probably be Protestant, but I think both still abhor.
I think Northern Ireland is Protestant, so they could have been Protestant or Catholic, but it is core Orthodox doctrine, not the capital O, but it's Orthodox doctrine for all sects of Christianity against abortion, because we believe that life begins at conception. And I've never had an abortion, never would. And I know no one in here would have an abortion, but I think it's crazy that he's not even mentioning abortion. And they later admit in court that, yeah, there is no rule or law against proclaiming the gospel, but they still went ahead to prosecute. And this is what we're in a position of what's just called, people say, what do they say? It's
in what world is preaching the gospel unsafe?
What is it called? Something anarchy? It's called something anarchy. I forget the name of the modern word for it. But it's like when you have anarchy, but it's just for the people, certain classes, and the rest have to follow the rules even stricter than ever. So you have to be accounted. Like, how would a reverend know if there was some like bylaw about this? He doesn't know at the moment. So they get you in court, and I would say, if court is about $7,500 a day, including the documents, about $7,500 a day. Sometimes, I have a court date coming up. That's just the dumbest thing ever, and it's cost $17,500 for the preparation and the day to just tell the court this is stupid and this is not lawful. That's literally all we're telling the court, is that this is not lawful what you're doing, and that's what this guy is doing. He has to go to court to just tell them it's not lawful, and it's interesting because that's how it was in January 6th.
Yep.
It was like, what, $250,000 just to get the government to agree that I had a press license and had the right to film. So just to tell the government you have the right to do something, then you have to pay all this money. But then if you try to go out and sexually assault someone's girlfriend, you also have to pay all this money and catch a charge and go to court. And it's like, well, he got out of it. And this guy got out of it. And this guy got out of it. This is millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars collectively a year paid into a Jewish legal system and paid just to be able to exercise your rights. And it's sick.
Yeah, you can get stabbed by a Somalian in Scotland and go to jail. You can go to jail and be prosecuted for getting stabbed. I mean, that's how serious the situation is.
And on that as well,
it's
remember,
in many
George,
different countries.
On that, remember, it wasn't the actual victim of his alleged assault who was there at court saying, incarcerate this man. He did this
didn't
wrong
even
thing.
show up.
He wasn't even there. So it was the state prosecuting one of their own citizens who had been stabbed and assaulted by this guy for defending his woman, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But that demonstrates to us how far we've actually shifted. There has to be zero tolerance for all this going forward. Otherwise, there's going to be widespread bloodshed, and we want to hopefully avoid bloodshed. But the government appears, apparently, to be courting the very circumstances which will create massive bloodshed in our countries. And perhaps that's the objective, so they can crack down even further after the fact.
All right, final thoughts. Over to Weston. Close us out.
So, it's pretty fucking insane that you can literally get prosecuted for being stabbed. It's like we don't even live in a real world. No, it's like we don't live in a real world. It's like this is all the same make-believe.
It's absolutely backwards.
What's that?
It's backwards, man.
No, it's completely backwards. It's just like, I have seen women go on the internet and say these people can't rape. It's like, oh, the Somalians can't rape. Neither can Africans that are in Africa. They can't rape. The Mexicans can't rape. I've seen it on Facebook, and it's pretty insane.
What do you mean?
All the rapists are just white people. Okay.
Oh, they're literally saying that the Browns
They literally,
aren't capable
I have
of rape
seen
or
them
what?
say that black people and Mexicans can't rape people.
They can't. They're too innocent.
You don't want to pull up the stats of African-American males who have been convicted of raping white women, and conversely, white men who have been convicted of raping African-American women. those numbers will alarm anyone that sees them, and you'll understand the size of the problem you're dealing with.
Well, just to let you guys know, if you want to, there's this great new writer named Indie Noticer. Shout out to Indie Noticer here. You can read his new article, The Antichrist Reveals Himself. He's a great young writer, has a lot of potential. I think this is more of like an op-ed, but you can read it there, the Indie Noticer. It's a fantastic article. You should check it out.
You can read it on rifttv.com or on Twitter on his page, but come to rifttv.com to check it out.
Anyways, guys, joining me today in the studio, my guest for a great Monday show. Is happy to have you here, Weston Walker. If people want to find you and follow you, what's the best place that they can follow you on social media to keep up with all your shenanigans and the nonsense in this very clown world with very real consequences?
The Real Weston Walker on Instagram, Weston Walker on Twitter, and my Snapchat is The Weston Walker. And on Facebook, it's The Weston Wayne Walker again.
And joining us, of course, thank you so much for coming on, the Benjamin.
No dramas, Elijah.
Benjamin.
Thank you for having me once again. If anyone wants to check me out, they can follow me at Australian Talk on Twitter, I'm unsure how long I'll be able to stay out of prison because I intend on returning home in the coming weeks. And I guess the Australian government has already got their prosecutors lined up to arrest me when I get back at the airport. So until then, g'day, mate.
That's wild. That is completely getting banned from countries. I'm not that cool yet.
Yeah. I just got rebanned from Australia, actually.
You see that Kanye?
It's crazy.
Kanye was banned. Kanye was banned from singing in the UK.
Yeah. Because they weren't ready for it. They had to prosecute more grandmas for saying, was it 6 million on Facebook?
And we got gifted
it was 100 million
as well.
What?
We got gifted a sub tonight as well. Guitar MG. Shout out.
It was 100 million.
Out Butthead for the 2 gifted subs. It was Butthead.
Shout out to Hackaroo. We'll probably do for locals on. If you're on locals, go to the Discord. We'll do a little bit of a little cigar after chat on Discord. So if you go to ElijahSchaefer.locals.com, you can join for free. And if you become a member, you can actually get the code
and come hang out with
for the Discord. And if you ever give a super chat, you can just email the email on my X, and they can send you an invite for the Discord if you get a big super chat. Not $1, but maybe like $20 or more. You can also join. You considered supporting the show. We appreciate you. Georgie, if people want to follow you, which God knows why people make certain decisions they do.
I don't know. Sith Lord Groiper, if you want to write for Rift TV, please contact me on my Twitter at Sith Lord Groiper. We need writers. We do. So send me 2 articles and we'll check it out. If you want to get on the show, if you're notable and you have something interesting, some breaking news to talk about, please do it on Rift. Contact me and we'll get you on.
Of course. And to the rest of you guys watching, have a great rest of the week. As always, we'll see you tomorrow around 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.